Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Tega. If you're new on this channel, welcome. And if you're a subscriber or you visit from time to time, thanks a lot for coming again. Here I'm buying a fabric for a Barbie dress to be made for my daughter as she has requested for a dress. And I bought 1.5 meters of fabric. Now we're gonna start the first part of this tutorial now. You wanna decide the widest point of your body. We're gonna be cutting the top first before the skirt of the dress. And for the top bit of the dress, you wanna go with the biggest part of your top, which is your bust, when folding the fabric over. So I'm gonna rule a line across here as the start line. You need to fold your fabric over like that. We're gonna be cutting the front panel. Now you wanna add your shoulder measurement. Half of your shoulder divided by 2. Whatever you have, you wanna make the marking like I'm doing there from the start line. Next, you wanna add your neckline. I'm gonna go for 6 inches depth, 6 inches. And the width of the neckline is gonna be 3.5 inches. So I'm making that marking. So that's the depth first, and I'm gonna mark the 3.5 width, and I'm gonna mark it over there as well at the start line. So that's 3.5 inches, and I'll connect it to the 6 inches depth. Right, that's it. So we have 3.5 width and 6 inches, and I'm gonna make it a bit curvy. I don't want a sharp neck over there, so I've made it a bit curved out. So next, I'm gonna add my waist measurement. So from the start line to the waist, make the marking. The start line represents your shoulder point. So from your shoulder now to your waistline, you wanna add your measurement. You want to grab your ruler and roll a line across. Next, you want to add your shoulder to bust line. That was the first one I should have added before the waistline, but either way, you're fine. So that's the shoulder to your bust line. So whatever you have, you want to do the same. Now draw a line across. I'll be adding the chest line measurement in a bit because it's very important when constructing your sleeve. Now you want to add your bust measurement. So your bust circumference divided by 4. Whatever you have, you want to make the marking. Your bust circumference divided by 4. Add whatever you have, then add 1 inch seam allowance. Now we're going to move over to the waistline. Your waist circumference divided by 4. Whatever you have, make that marking. Add your seam allowance, then add dart allowance. So add your seam allowance, then add your dart allowance. So you need 2 extra allowance there by your waist. But by the bust, you only need your seam allowance. So I've got 1 inch for my seam allowance, and I've got 1 inch for my dart allowance on the waistline. Now we're going to be adding the dart allowance, and that is your bust span divided by 2. If your bust span is 8, you want to divide it by 2, and that will give you 4. Then you want to mark 4. Like I've done here, I've taken 4 and I've marked it on the bust line and on the waistline. So on the bust line, you want to come down by 1 inch. Now on the waistline, take half an inch on the left side and take another half an inch on the right side of the line. That will make up the 1 inch dart allowance. So that's 1 inch dart allowance that we took on the side that we added over there. Right. So you want to construct your dart now by connecting it to 1 inch under the bust line. That point under the bust line, you want to construct your dart. So that's our dart now. So that's the dart you need. And now we're going to move on and construct our armhole. So for the armhole, you want to come down for your shoulder slope by 1 inch. You want to come down from that shoulder line, the start line, by 1 inch and connect it to the neckline, and that's your shoulder slope. To construct the armhole, you need your armhole circumference divided by 2. Your armhole circumference divided by 2. Whatever you have, you want to make the marking from the slope, not from the start line. From the slope, you want to add half of your armhole circumference. But I want you to take note here, as I am making a sleeveless dress, I'm going to take half an inch off the armhole, right? I'm going to take half an inch. I'm going to take half an inch off it because I don't want the sleeve opening to be too wide. If we were adding sleeve, it's a different ball game, but with it being sleeveless, we need to take the half an inch off. On the shoulder, from the armhole line, we're going to come in by 1.5 inches, right? From your shoulder measurement, come in by 1.5 inches, and we're going to be drafting our armhole. But before we do that, I'm going to find the midpoint of the armhole over there. You want to find the midpoint and make the marking. This is different because it's got no sleeve, so we got to construct it differently. Now, like if we're going to sew a sleeved armhole, normally you can draft it up to the chest line, or you carry on up to the bust line. You can carry on to the chest line or bust line, but we're not going to do that. We're going to construct it up to the chest line. So where your armhole, half of your armhole circumference ends, that is your chest line. So you're going to draw a line across, as you can see. Where the armhole, half of your armhole ends, that's where the chest line is. I want you to take note of that. So you're going to draw a line across, then you're going to construct your proper armhole now. All you need to do is to transfer your bust measurement there and the seam allowance right up to the chest line, and you're going to construct your armhole on the chest line rather than the bust line. We're not going to be adding any sleeve, so this is very important. We don't want too much opening around the armhole. As you can see, this is how you need to draft your armhole, right from there up to the chest line. And now we're going to connect the armhole chest line to the waist right now. So we're going to connect the chest line armhole right up to the waist, and that's it. Now we're going to start adding our allowance. So I'm going to be joining this top part to the skirt of the dress. So I need half an inch for the joining. So I'm adding half an inch along the waistline. So this line is the allowance I need to sew to the skirt of the dress. So that's very important, and you want to extend your dart as well. Now I'm just going to draw out the 1 inch seam allowance over there. It would have been perfect to add a bust dart, but on this occasion we're going to only make do with the waist dart. So guys, here I have the waist dart, and the armhole constructed. When you're drafting your own dress, make sure you leave half an inch seam allowance before the start line. You need half an inch or quarter of an inch. This is because of the allowance I need for the shoulder. As you can see here, I'm trying to mark like a quarter of an inch for my seam allowance. So it's a struggle here because I forgot to leave that bit of allowance before I started drafting the dress. Nonetheless, I still have a bit, so that's perfect. I'm still gonna cut the back and everything will be fine. So now it's time to cut. Before cutting, I just want to point out that the armhole for the front panel will be different from the back. So I'm going to come in by half an inch over there. That's only for the front armhole. The back armhole is going to be the same as I've drafted before. So for the front armhole, I'm going to reconstruct that like that. But I'm not going to cut the front armhole yet. I'm going to go with the original armhole I drafted because I'm cutting the back panel. Then, can you see that? After I cut the back panel, I'm going to reconstruct that. The next stage is cutting the back panel and the skirt of the dress. But I tell you, this video will be too long. And I've decided to make a part 2 of this. So you want to carry on with a part 2 of this tutorial. So guys, I'll see you in the next one.